And when they had passed by Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of Jews. And by custom Paul entered them, and by 3 Sabbaths he declared to them of the Scriptures, and opened and showed that it behooved Christ to suffer and rise again from death, and that this is Jesus Christ, whom I tell to you. And some of them believed, and were joined to Paul and to Silas. And a great multitude of heathen men worshipped God, and noble women, not a few. But the Jews had envy, and took of the common people some evil men. And when they had made a company, they moved the city, and they came to Jason's house, and sought to bring them forth among the people. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and some brethren to the princes of the city, and cried that these it be that moved the world, and hither they came, whom Jason received, and these do all against the commandments of the emperor, and say that Jesus is another king. And they moved the people and the princes of the city, hearing these things. And when satisfaction was taken of Jason and of others, they let Paul and Silas go. And anon by night, brethren let Silas go into Berea. And when they came thither, they entered into the synagogue of the Jews. But these were the worthier of them that be at Thessalonica, which received the word with all desire, each day seeking Scriptures, if these things had them so. And many of them believed, and of heathen women, honest, and men not a few. But when the Jews in Thessalonica had known that also at Berea the word of God was preached to Paul, they came thither, moving and disturbing the multitude. And then anon brethren delivered Paul, that he should go to the sea. But Saul, Silas, and Timothy dwelt there. And they that led forth Paul led him to Athens, when they had taken a commandment of him to Silas and Timothy, that fuel highly they should come to him. They went forth. When Paul abode them at Athens, his spirit was moved in him, for he saw the city given to idolatry. Therefore he disputed in the synagogue with the Jews, and with men that worshipped God, and in the doom place, by all days to them that heard. And some Epicureans and Stoics and philosophers disputed with him. And some said, what will this sower of words say? And others said, he seemeth to be a teller of new friends, for he told to them Jesus and the again rising. And they took and led him to Areopagus, and said, may we know what is this new doctrine that is said of thee? For thou bringest in some new things to our ears. Therefore we will know what these things will be. For all men of Athens and comelies harbored gave attention to none other thing, but either to say, either to hear some new thing. And Paul stood in the middle of Areopagus, and said, men of Athens, by all things I see you in vain. I see you as vain worshippers. For I passed and saw your monuments, and found an altar in which was written, to the unknown God. Therefore which thing ye unknowing worship, this thing I show to you. God, that made the world and all things that be in it. This, for he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hand, neither is worshipped by man's hands, neither hath need of anything, for he giveth life to all men, and breathing in all things, and made of one all the kind of men to inhabit on all the face of earth, determining times ordained and terms of the dwelling of them, to seek God, if peradventure they feel him, either find, though he be not far from each of you. For in him we live and be. And also some of your poets said, and we be also the kind of him, Therefore, since we be the kind, we shall not deem that godly thing is like God in silver, either stone, either to engraving of craft and thought of man. For God despiseth the times of this unknowing, and now showeth to men that all everywhere do penance, for that he hath ordained a day in which he shall deem the world in equity, in a man in which he ordained, and gave faith to all men, and raised him from death. When they had heard the again rising of dead men, some scorned and some said, we shall hear thee again of this thing. So Paul went out of the middle of them, but some men drew to him and believed, among which Dionysius Areopagite was, and a woman by name Damaris, and other men with them.